It's Wednesday, September the 6th, 2023. It's our monthly purchasing committee. First of all, we'll hand out the agendas here. Everybody please look over them. Alrighty, if you looked over your agendas, I'd entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. All right, moving on to your minutes. The minutes are attached to the back. Just look over the minutes and just let me know when you're ready to approve.
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Okay, before we go to public comments, I would like to add something to our new business, the discussion of the library's yearly agreement. I want to add that to new business. And I'd like to put that after the discussion of the MSD Foods, between that and surplus. So if you would, just pencil that in.
Discussion of library agreement.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, moving on to public comments. Does anybody have any public comments you'd like to address? Anything? Okay. All right, being none, we'll move right along and get to number 5, which is discuss approval of the new location for the TCAT site. So, Stephanie, I'll turn that over to you. You've been dealing with TCAT, so if you would just inform us on what you've acquired the last 2 weeks of hard work.
So I actually reached out to the TBR who's going to be building the new TCAT facility. Of course, when we talked last time, there was discussion about how much we were trying to fit on our acreage and would that even be sufficient for the TCAT facility. Long story short, no, it's not. So they gave renderings of what they'd like their facility to be. The last rendering was like 35,000 square foot. And they were looking at more of needing somewhere between 12 and 15 acres. So I reached out to Stephen with the industrial board and we tried to find a suitable lot. In the meantime of discussing with Jeffrey from the TBR, we did talk about the impending I-24 site, which isn't complete yet. He talked to some people on the state side, and they have, for the most part, promised them that if and when that site takes place, they are going to be promised 20 acres of that site. And in turn, they are going to build a 75,000 square foot facility. He did supply me with a letter of intent showing us that it is their intent to go to that site as soon as all of that has been completed. I will say on the county side, we still need to uphold our placeholder for the funds that the state has already put in place there. So I move that we probably need to go ahead and do a resolution for a placeholder. So rescind the original as we discussed, which isn't enough land for them to do anything with anyway. Go ahead and do a placeholder for lot 30 with 10 acres with the knowledge knowing that they'll probably not go there, but if something ever fell through, they would have the security of having that spot held for them. And I did talk to Jeffrey at the TBR about that, and he is more than okay with having that reassurance sitting there for them.
And
And I
lot 30
think-
is located where?
It's in the joint industrial park. It's on the backside.
Kind of back in the corner?
It's back in
Yeah.
that cul-de-sac back
It
towards the back.
is.
Between ICC and Sadie, southeastern corner.
I have a little map if I can find my right spot.
That's okay, I think I know where that is.
Okay.
I was just curious as where its placement was. And that's a 10-acre lot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the lot is, Stephen, you correct, I think it's 14
It's
acres, but we're,
14, but it falls off the
Yeah.
cliff on the backside, and so there's 10 usable acres on lot 30.
so I think we need to dedicate 10 acres of that lot, to them. And if we approve it tonight, I'll have the county attorney start drafting the resolution for the next full commission. Because once we free up that spot, we can move forward with other business. So I feel, from my discussion with the TBR, they are, his words, they are glad that we initiated this discussion, that it came up. It forced us to have a discussion that we didn't have prior that needed to be done. And it's gonna work out best for both of us. I mean, we're gonna get a better, larger facility. They don't have to worry about expanding at another location, wasting more tax dollars, more effort going to a second location. It's all gonna be in this one space. So I feel like that's a good choice.
Okay, with that being said, before we have a resolution made, I want to hand this out to everyone. That's what we got. That's what we got. That's just what I was looking for like a month ago. So that's from TCAT saying that they're good with this.
Will they maintain that 10 acres in the industrial park here once they have the 20 acres there?
No, in the resolution, I would state that once they either break ground at another location or they come to us in writing stating that they no longer need that placeholder, they have picked another site, that property will revert back to Coffee County. So it will be free to use for another industry or whatever decides to take that place in the future.
But in the meantime, it'll go to the farming leases.
The 20 acres that this speaks of in the upcoming I-24 site, where is it located in that?
Right up front, it's gonna be right off of like what the main entrance would be, which I mean, I can't speak. They're gonna have their facility. They had talked about like doing a welcome center, but which I've talked to Stephen, they're gonna be able to come right off, use the utilities that are running off of 53, and they know that there's nothing really developed there yet. They're okay with that because they're, like we talked before, location was important for them. So they're on a good highway, they're gonna be up front, and they're gonna have their acreage. Those are their top 3 for them. So they're okay with it, and they were kind of thrilled that as of right now, that location is kind of in the state's hands. So they were like, well, we're just, the state giving land to the state kind of makes sense. So, they didn't have issue with it, and they seemed like they were more excited about that location. Not that they were not excited about the joint, but they felt like that would meet their needs in the future. There would not be a building trying to squeeze a little facility on 7 acres and then coming over here and trying to get more funding to build a facility that they really needed. It's kind of going to be all in one go. So, I mean, it's probably a better utilization of dollars for sure.
So they're really gonna hold off building or doing anything until the I-24 site comes through?
Yes, because they have intent. So I do believe like the president and then the chancellor had discussed it. He said that there would be no issues with the funds as long as they could justify grounds of waiting. And that's how they justified it. They're going to have more space without an additional location and coming back for funds later. So I think everyone agreed that this was a better move for them. And so when they all agree upon that, that kind of frees up their timeline a little bit. So,
And that frees up that land there that we need to do some adjustment to.
Right, correct. So, Frankie, any questions on any of that stuff?
No.
So, if anybody wants to come forth with a resolution to approve Lot 30 and the 10 acres to TCAT, just in case somebody could make a resolution, we could go forward with that.
yeah, if everyone's okay here today, then from this meeting, I would just get with Ed and have him draw up a resolution. Because we will have to rescind the original that had the 5 acres dedicated. And then once we rescind that, we will put in place this resolution that has the more acreage at a different lot. And it will act just as a placeholder to secure funds for the what if.
Yeah.
So we need
It's
a motion.
It's a pretty much a safety, just like a safety net for it, so.
So we need a motion
I guess we need to go ahead and,
to carry on.
yeah, have us a resolution here, I guess, for Ed to look over.
Yeah.
So if one of y'all two wanna make a resolution to do that.
I'll make a motion that we draft a resolution rescinding the previous 5 acres afforded to TCAT, and that we then, in that resolution, afford them a placeholder at Lot 30. And then in that resolution, that we have language that says if they pick a new location at any other location, that then reverts back to the county for distribution to another development.
Right. I like it.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can write all that down.
Got it recorded.
All right. Got that
We'll
motion? We
tweak
need
the
a-
title.
Yeah,
We need a second for
that
that.
was an awful long motion.
I'll make a second.
Joe Mike makes a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, so. All right, so number 6, we're gonna move down to discussion for MSD Foods to acquire the 2.4 acres in the joint industrial park for expansion. So,
I guess I'll say the only thing that was holding us up really was the health department, and then we had TCAT squished in there, and then we were gonna have MDS Foods butting up against TCAT.
I think pretty much what we were looking for was that piece of paper that I handed
Yeah,
out to you.
we were
that
we
they
were looking for the space to free up in between our health department.
Well, the lot that is in, I don't want to call it contention, but the lot that's going to be MDS Foods coming into and/or the health department's going to be encroaching on was the TCAT lot.
Correct.
And that was a total of,
Like 7.5 acres, but that wasn't including easements for building and all that
Sure.
other stuff. So,
I
I
thought
mean,
it was 10.
well, we have 12 acres total. So when
Sure.
you take the 2.42 and then our 2.58.
Right, but the fact of it, that lot itself is a 12-acre lot.
Yes.
So if MDS gets 2.5, basically, then that's going to leave 9.5, and then if we take 2.5, that'll leave the 7. And
So-
then that leaves 7 in case either party needs
To
more
expand,
going,
yes.
because I know Dennis had said.
Yeah, that's
From
pretty,
our-
like last month, that's what had us
Sure.
held up was this document from,
Because we actually may
that's right.
need 3 for the health department, because the health department may have to shift
Yep.
from being up on the top down farther, because of land and for future expansion. That way we don't have to go through this again at another lot with another health department.
so
So-
I think we have everything in place now to move forward with this.
That's what I'm seeing. So I'd
Yeah.
make the motion to go ahead and to approve the MDS acquisition of the 2.42 acres.
Good, we have a
I'll
motion, and have a second, Joe Mike second, so, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. So, moving into, before we go to gov surplus, let's have the discussion on the library on a multi-year agreement, so.
Okay. Usually anything, I'm just gonna pass this out. Anything that's a year under, I can sign and move forward. When it's a multi-year, I usually let the attorney look at it and, then get down to looking as if it's actually good for the county. And I didn't know a whole lot about this, so I talked to Courtney. these prices that you're looking at, really kind of startled me because they were kind of high. Then I talked to her, and right now they're at almost 38,000. The library split them. They split the cost of this software, and this cost of the paper I handed out actually adds a mobile element for their patrons to use, which they don't currently have right now. They have a clunky online website that's hard for people to manipulate from their phone. We've all, tried to. It's irritating. So this will allow them to use or utilize the library in a different way through a mobile app, which will be easier probably for everybody. And it really only goes up right now, or their last year they paid was almost $38,000 split by both. This is going up to $42,000 for the additional of the mobile site for them to have. So really it's costing each library another like $2,500. I talked to Courtney. She said her and Polly both looked at their budgets. They're not asking for any additional money. They've already have the original money in their budget to accompany their normal system. So what would go up, they can pull from their current budget and make this still work. So they're not asking for an additional funds. The other thing we need to take into account is we all know a yearly agreement. Frank, we probably, we're locked in this great rate until that year drops, and then it goes up 8%, and then 10% here, and 5% this next year. This lets Courtney and Polly know exactly what they need to budget for the next 5 years, which is amazing.
Typically, you don't get that.
You don't.
With,
And
agreements.
so I did the math. I mean, you'll see it year one, it drops down year two, and then it kind of bumps back up. But it holds at like right under 4% going up. And when I talked to Courtney, if I'm going back, they started 4 years ago, they were at 32, and they jumped up 7% and went up to 34, then 35, now almost 38.
Say after year two, it looks like it's just going up $1,700.
Yeah. So, I
every
mean,
year.
really, they're coming out to the good on this. I don't see a reason. I'm not against this. I think it lets them help for budgeting purposes. It helps their patrons. It locks them into a price. The main reason why I brought it forth is because it is a 5-year agreement. So I am going to say that we are for this. I have forwarded a copy of this master agreement. I mean, your guys are more than welcome to look at this 20-page beautiful document. But I did forward this to the county attorney to make sure he's okay with the verbiage, like indemnits and all that other kind of stuff that none of us want to know about, to make sure that there's nothing that is not good for our side.
Not to second guess him or anything.
Yes.
Is there anything in there that allows for, is there any penalty for getting out of the contract?
There probably is, but there's no way we can do
Yeah,
that.
that
There's
is our-
no other option
It's
for us.
our operating.
But they already operate on this system.
So it's,
95,
you're kind of,
We're stuck.
well, I'm talking about the uppage for the mobile app part. Like if something happened and y'all decided for whatever reason, hey, the mobile app ain't working. Is there a penalty for you withdrawing from that part of it and going back to just what you have now?
I don't really know.
Not that we're aware of,
Not
but we
that-
can
yeah.
get into it.
Okay, well, sometimes they are, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's just merely a 30-day notice in writing that you're wanting to withdraw from whatever agreement you are, and then you can get out of it, unless it's something you've already paid up front, then it just won't renew the next year kind of thing.
It looks
So-
like it's an as-year basis,
Okay.
but I don't see anything that lets them opt out as I've just scrolled it. But again,
Sure.
it's
Well, we've been wanting that app for a long time.
Sure.
So I don't see opting out of it.
Okay. No, just, I'm dealing with them, I know sometimes they are, sometimes there's not. I like to ask to know what I'm looking at in case we don't like it and wanna get out of it. Is there a penalty, or are we kinda stuck with it for at least the year until it rolls over and cycles? So just wanted to throw that. Okay.
I had a question. The discount in column 1 there, the 3602, what was the discount?
For us doing a 5-year contract,
Oh,
we asked to give
you get that,
best
if,
price, and that was what they could do for us.
okay. Now, these say estimated So is there a limit of how much it can go up? Because estimated,
Yes, 3.9% is
3.9?
the maximum it can go
okay.
up.
Which is right about where they're at when I did the math.
Right.
So I already checked their math. I was
So
looking at the
that's
money.
in the contract. So that's like kind of ours is, now I do know this isn't a commodity like I'm gonna explain, like our food service at the jail. Ours is stuck to 4% unless there is verbiage in the contract. It says unless supplies because of supply and demand dictates that the cost, the overall cost has went up over that, and then we must go into basically negotiations to what percentage we will agree to. But that's the way ours is for the food. It says no more than 4%. This isn't really a commodity, so you're not really worried about some kind of cost of a product. So they pretty much should be able to hold to that. Okay.
Yeah, and it has the 3.9% max until term renewal.
Okay.
Which would be, I guess, the end of the
The
5.
end of the
Yeah.
5.
And it includes all software updates and,
Yes.
okay.
It's everything, just
Yeah.
all updates, maintenance of
Right.
the, everything.
How
Okay.
I understood it, it was your complete system as it is now with just the addition of mobile, correct? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anything
Now,
else?
does this need to be referred to Budget and Finance, or is it?
No, because they're not, I would not think so. They're not asking for
They're
additional
not
money.
asking for additional money
Yeah, I think we just need a recommendation out of this committee for it.
to them to go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a recommendation, make a motion that
Okay.
as
As long as
printed.
as long as the attorney is okay with
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
okay.
All right, we got,
per the
Yes.
attorney's.
so we got a motion to approve this.
Second.
This agreement. Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. All righty.
Welcome.
Thanks for walking me through that.
Hey, Stephanie, who's finding the chair?
I have 2, but you're not gonna want them,
Okay.
so we'll get you some good ones.
Polly, thank you and Courtney for coming out and give us some inside info on this. That helped out, so appreciate it.
Always do.
All right, moving on. Sir, gov deal surplus.
I don't have any,
We don't have any.
None.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
because we were on it.
All right, well, that pretty much sums it up. So we took care of new business, so anybody have anything they want to add?
I don't think there's anything.
Joe, Mike, anything?
Just as, like I said, the new guy on the block, when we go to do something in the future, let's not tie something up and violate the principles of an industrial park and hold up a factory or whatever that wants to expand. Let's think and make thought ahead so we don't run into this
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, hopefully, I don't think
we'll
we'll,
ever
I don't
have
think we'll
this.
ever run into
I
this
think
again.
this was just a perfect storm
It
situation.
was. I'm gonna say,
So
it's
I think it
never,
just happened to be the way it be.
yeah, I mean, we were trying to squeeze a lot. I never think we ever thought it would come to that. But I'm never gonna say that industry and education coming to our county is ever gonna be a bad thing.
Nope.
We're for it. We're just trying to make sure we're for it
Yes.
the right way.
I just like to say, Stephanie has gone above and beyond. Stephen has worked. It's been back and forth
Yeah, thank you.
from office to
Really hard
office
work.
to office. So she'd made a lot of phone calls. And also, one other thing, before you say anything, Stephanie, we had a purchasing class last week in Nashville, and the room was full from all over the state. Just so you know, Stephanie was like on top of everything. The teacher that was teaching it was asking her questions. So
You go.
Thank you.
she really showed out, and she made she really looked good. So they was impressed
Try
with
to
her.
only
So
have the best here in Coffee County.
That's
So
right.
much for flying
That's right.
under that radar. That just went out the window. Thank you, Jimmy.
So Stephanie,
No, I
Stephanie
appreciate it.
Stephanie, for all that, you can buy my lunch next week. So. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Hey, ain't y'all the ones got the Chick-fil-A stuff for a year?
Yeah, that's great. Frank, did you get in on that?
I didn't get in on none
I
of
didn't
that.
either.
I didn't know about that. I went yesterday and it took 45 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
goodness.
Just a number of
And,
people.
and they need a light down there.
I,
I
Yeah.
know that it's
yes.
probably the state that does that.
Oh, yeah, that's 41, that's a state deal.
But
If they,
I mean,
but they, somebody will need to, that will be addressed, I'm sure, because I'm telling you, coming in and out of Home Depot yesterday, I'm not joking, it was lined out of it, and they were having to go into Home Depot, make a loop to try to give it time enough to get in line.
And
It's-
that's one of the bigger lots that Chick-fil-A
Oh,
owns.
yeah, I
by
mean,
far.
I'm glad that's not purchasing's problem.
If you wanna see one, go to Tullahoma and look at Chick-fil-A's in the Dunham's Shopping
Oh,
Center.
yeah, that one's just as bad.
That one is a madhouse because of the, like Jimmy said, it's a smaller lot, how they have to confine.
I mean.
That's a bigger lot, and it
would
was,
probably help if they had an egress right when you're coming out of the drive-through, you know, after you pick it up.
I'm no designer, I'm no engineer,
Well, I'm just saying
but
it's a
yes,
little farther down the street.
no, what they needed to have done is to me, because you have to come in and then turn and come back out the way you come in, and it bottlenecks everything.
Yes.
They should have allowed you when you made through the drive-through or in the parking lot and went around and come out on 41 and turned, if you were going, south, and went on south out that egress, instead of everybody, whether you're going north or south, have to come out the same entrance and exit
Right.
and try to
I
split.
just turned right and turned around in the.
Oh, yeah. It's, yeah, so.
Okay.
But
There-
grilled chicken
Motion to adjourn.
worth it.
There again, I want to appreciate everybody for coming out and getting this business done. This is this is probably one of the better meetings we've had as far as getting stuff done. We got it done today, so
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
So
That's what
that's
it
right.
was.
So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. All right, thank you.